When determining the number and quality of new gens that you're going to get, Football Manager uses a youth rating, and that youth rating goes from 0 to 200. Now, there's some other things going on behind the scenes as well, including things like how important is football to that country. In a place like Egypt or Brazil, they're going to throw more money and resources at it. In a place like Indonesia or maybe an African country, not so much. So there are two things you have to think of in coordination with each other to determine the country you're playing in. What sort of new gens are you going to get? What quality are they going to be? The first is the talent pool. That is essentially the youth rating. The second thing to consider is this here. This is a bell curve, and this is a standard bell curve, and it essentially says at either end, you're going to get some individuals that are A, really, really good, or B, really, really bad, and the vast majority of individuals are going to fall somewhere on either side of average. Now, this comes into play when you consider the size of the talent pool you're talking about. So, for example, if we were to visualize a country's talent pool by, say, a pool of water, this would be Nepal. It's a very, very tiny pool, which means when you apply the bell curve to it, the chances of you getting somebody really, really good or really, really bad are next to nil. And the people you are going to get are going to be average at best. This is Latvia's talent pool. It's a bit bigger, which means the chances of getting somebody really good are a little bit greater, but not much. And the vast majority of your players, again, are going to be right around average. This is Serbia's talent pool, and applying the bell curve to this, the chances of you getting a really good player are a bit more, but the chances of you getting an average player, or a player who's slightly better than average, or a player who's slightly lower than average are greater as well. The bigger the pool, the bigger the curve, the greater the chances of getting somebody really, really good. Case in point, a country like Turkey. They have a good footballing tradition. It's a very important sport to the country as a whole, and as a result, their talent pool is much greater, about the size of the Med, I would say. And then probably the best example and biggest talent pool on the planet, Brazil. Their talent pool is big, their talent pool is deep. The number of very good to excellent players they produce every year is phenomenal. Brazilian wonder kids are where it's at, apparently, and having gotten more than a few in previous saves, I can attest to this. That also means the number of average to good and good to very good Brazilian players is exceptional as well. I want to say Brazil has the highest youth rating in the game. Could be a little bit higher, could be a little bit lower, but I want to say it's around 165. However, for this save, we are not Brazil. We are North Macedonia. And while our pool is nice, it's not deep. And yeah, that's going to be interesting. This save, we are FK Vardar. They were a founding member of the Macedonian First Football League. They have won the most championships. They've won 12. They've also won 5 national cups. They're the most popular and most renowned football club in Macedonia. And they got relegated in 2021 due to some bad financial decisions and bad personnel decisions. It's the first time they've ever been relegated. This is our stadium. I'm going to horribly mispronounce it, and I apologize, but this is the Tose Proeski Stadium. We share it with Rabiniki, who are also based in Skopje. It holds 33,000 people. It's a UEFA Category 4 stadium. It's hosted a lot of matches. And we are going to do our best over the course of this save to pack it as full of Vardar fans as we can. It's a good stadium in a city that is full of history. But as I mentioned before, we do have a couple things going against us. The North Macedonian talent pool is not all that deep, although we have produced some quality players. Goran Pandev, the current North Macedonian national team captain. Ezjan Elios, and I'm totally mispronouncing his first name, but he's a very good defender. Alif Elmas, a promising young attacker. Stefan Ritsovsky, and Stole Dmitrievsky. Now, are these players elite? Probably not. Are they very good? Yes, they are. And that is going to be the goal of this save. At FK Vardar, we are limited to signing North Macedonian players only. That means not only poaching good players from other North Macedonian teams, that means using our own resources to develop our youth players. Now that is where we have a little bit of an upper hand. Because according to SI, Vardar's training facilities are great. The quality of our new gens that we create are good, and we have average youth recruitment, which is to be expected when we're only recruiting in North Macedonia. Now, looking around, if I'm reading my resources that I've looked at right, it takes 8 years to get North Macedonian citizenship. So the possibility of bringing in a youth player from another country, training them for 5 years, and then getting them North Macedonian citizenship is just not there. We're probably going to be relying a lot on players who have North Macedonian as a second nationality. And I am okay with that. I've always wanted to do a youth development save. This is a really good test for us because it's a good club in a medium-sized country, which means we will get European football probably within the first 4 or 5 years. We're in the second division now. We need to get promoted. The top 4 clubs in the Macedonian First League get European football. Now, granted, that's European path qualifying for the first place squad, and then second through fourth get Euro Cup 2. But considering there's not a lot of advertising money, there's not a lot of TV money, any type of money we can get from European competitions is going to count. The ultimate goal of this save, well, there is a very inaccurate quote made by Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber in the greatest Christmas movie of all time, Die Hard. And when Alexander saw the breadth of his domain, he wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer. Now, that is a bastardization of a quote between Plutarch and John Calvin, which you would probably never put in a sentence together willingly, but it fits here. This is Alexander Kotsov, 40 years old, a former professional player, now the head coach of FK Vardar. His goal, to conquer the world, which means winning the Macedonian League, winning the Macedonian Cup, winning the Euro Cup, and winning the Champions League, all with homegrown, in-house developed talent. Saying that out loud, you realize how big a challenge that is. But it's going to be a fun challenge. There will probably be a lot of ups and probably more downs. But at the end of this series, Alexander Kotsov will weep because there will be no more worlds for him to conquer.